Hey there, Charlize coming at you with Nancy. We're going to ask Nancy another set of questions because she is the expert. She's the business strategist. She is the branding expert. And Nancy, you have the answers to all the questions entrepreneurs want to know. And so we have a few questions that really need your need your expertise. Please help us out here. Are you ready to get going on a few of these burning questions?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Now, one of the things that I know that you teach overall with your business are, ways to take yourself out of the business once it becomes successful. How do you grow a business successfully and then move yourself to working less while enjoying more time with your family, but still making the same amount of money or more? So, what is the best way to show off your knowledge? Becoming an expert, you are a genius in what you do. All of us have our own genius. So once we find that we're rocking and rolling, how do we step back from the business to make money? What is the next step that we could take?
Yeah. Well, one, right, if you want to showcase that you are an expert and all those good things, you don't want to get that out there on social media and say, "Hey, I'm an expert and here's my story," and just talk about yourself all day long, right? You don't want to do that. But you obviously want to help people in your area of expertise and you want to put yourself out there in a way where you're providing value. Okay. And that's
Mhm.
probably one of the biggest things that Scott and I really like to focus on in all that we do, not just our podcasts, but really in any program or service that we have, our mastermind
Mhm.
program. Like we're dedicated
Mhm.
in making sure that we're there for our peeps and, setting them up for success and really providing the most value possible. Even in our workshops, right? We want people to walk away with tangible results. So my whole point is you don't have to get out there and say, "Hey, I'm an expert." No, we want to help people solve problems, right? We want to give value. In fact, there was a quote by Seth Godin I always go back
Mhm.
to, and that is, if you don't have empathy, you have no business being in marketing and putting yourself
Mm.
out there, right? We've got to put ourselves in the shoes of our clients. What are the pain points that people are going through that you can solve? What are they going through on a regular basis? Sometimes if you actually, and I do this exercise occasionally, think about your client. Think about when they wake up in the morning and they start to have frustrations and they start to have, pieces in their day. Is there a part in that where you can help solve, some of the gaps or the, little bottlenecks in their business with what it is that you offer that you do? Get out there and share content that gives value, right? Answer problems. People pay for results, they want solutions. So, absolutely putting yourself out there in a way where you're giving that value is the best way to showcase your expertise. The other thing that I'll say there too is, again, once you're rocking and rolling in your business and you've got everything kind of set up, you got services, people obviously can go in that journey to hire you just by giving value and literally just focusing on being a person of value almost all the time. Okay. Success will follow. And I know it sounds so silly and simple, but even giving an example, there are Facebook groups, I was a part of for years. There were certain groups that I would go in and I would not be spammy or anything. Literally, I would just go in and I'm like, can I leave some nuggets, of just like some tips or advice or whatever? And I would do that. I would go in and I would just provide value on, personal branding or business. And I can't tell you how many people actually connected with me or went to my profile and checked me out and, hired me down the road just because they were like, "Wow, I loved your answer on that. Tell me more." And again, I wasn't being spammy, I wasn't being obnoxious, and in no way was it salesy, but I was providing value. So that's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that you can do in that way for your business. And, it's never ending. But I will say definitely get out there and provide value.
I love that. Okay, so we give to get, which is the sum of that all. So you're giving, you're making money, you're helping. But you want to grow, and there's a lot of talk. You mentioned that you guys have workshops and masterminds. There's a lot of learning still to be done, and there's a lot of help to be had from experts like you, business strategists like yourself. So how does someone get into a position where they get their help from you guys? I know your mastermind is probably your biggest um, place where people can do that. What do you suggest someone does if they're ready to move up and they're a little bit stuck?
Yeah. So that's why. So, my husband and I, right? So, my husband is a LinkedIn expert. He is
Hmm.
actually on a speaking tour at the moment while we're recording this. He's in Las Vegas. He's going to be in Colorado. He's going to be all over the place on his little tour. But, we really combined his zone of genius, which is, all around sales, pretty all encompassing, around sales. And then we took my genius of personal branding and business strategy and marketing and really came together, and we created two different programs. And the one is a very foundational, right? It's the basics if you're just getting started and you kind of want to know
Hmm.
the basics of just starting out. And then the other, right, which we're referring to, is our mastermind. And
Hmm. Hmm.
our mastermind is different from any other mastermind, honestly, that I've ever experienced or heard of. It's a hybrid, right? We call it.
Hmm. Hmm.
But that is our program where we only let 10 people at a time, each time that we actually open the doors, which we're going to be opening the doors soon. So, in fact,
Yay.
our next pod opens in October. We're going to do a little workshop that's going to lead up to it. It's all around personal branding and being the expert in your space. But anyway, we actually only take 10 people. And
Hmm.
what we do is, we really dig deep. We look into your business. We look at the, business as a whole. What pain points are you dealing with? What are your big goals? And then we break it apart into tangible, right? Step by step tactics and action plan that you can actually implement. So not
Hmm.
only do we cover, right, the strategy behind doing all that, we also have community, right? We have calls each and every week. We even have a mindset call to kick off the week. We've got a book club. All of these things came about, right, from feedback from our members of things that they really liked or they wanted to, have in the program. And so if anyone is looking to join, the program and wants to be a part of something, right, you want that accountability, you want
Hmm.
community, you want experts, right? Again, Scott's helped thousands of people at this point. He has over 500 recommendations on LinkedIn. His coaching alone is, extreme. But anyway, it is definitely, the only program of its kind where you get two experts who have been there, done that. I mean, we work 3 days a
Hmm.
week. We've built our business to beyond what we ever, knew that it could be. We continue to grow each and every year, and we take you guys along for that journey. Anyway, how to be a part of that. If you are interested, you can go to
Hmm.
thetimetogrowcom. And in thetimetogrowcom, you'll see that you can click. There's a couple services listed there. Of course, you can check out our mastermind, which again, it's very limited. Spots are limited. So if you're curious, you're kind of on that, in that place where you're like, you know what, I've been part of a mastermind before, but I'm not really sure. Or maybe you're thinking about joining a mastermind for the first time and you really want that support and you want to make sure this is right for you. Schedule a call with us. It's us. We
Hmm.
don't want to call. And I can promise you, this program is really, and it was created because it is what we wish we always had. We
Hmm.
experience pain points and bottlenecks in our business where I remember I was literally crying on the floor one day and I'm like, how the hell do we scale this business, right? Scott was doing one-on-one coaching nonstop. He's like, I only have so much time in a day. I was
Hmm.
over here working one-on-one with clients and we needed a scalable business. We needed to create residual income. We needed to obviously, build things out the right way. And we did all that. So we went through the bumps and the bruises. We joined multiple programs. Guys, we've invested probably hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point, in different things. And we figured it all out. So you don't have to. And that's exactly what we, do with our members. And so if you want to be a part of it, you want, like I said, the accountability, you want not only the one-on-one support, we do quarterly strategy calls, right? With action plans. In fact, we follow the 12-week year, if you're not familiar. It is an amazing book, but we are actually putting that into the framework of how we actually map out and plan out our
Hmm.
goals to ensure we achieve them. So if you want that accountability, you want the community, you want a safe space where you can not only learn, you can optimize your business, you can scale, you can grow, you can pour a little gasoline on that fire. And, we've seen so many just awesome things, with our clients that are actually doing the work. And it's just been so, so rewarding. So, yes.
Oh, that's great. As a writer, I love your metaphors because they really do paint the right picture of what you guys do. And I don't know if enough people could even understand through just words. I've seen inside the mastermind. I've helped And I've noticed that, you've taken everything that someone would pay a la carte for to dozens of different people and put it all into one simple space where people can just literally, like you said, put gasoline to the fire that you already have inside you and grow this business to places that you never even thought of. Now, this expert authority mastermind that you guys have, again, cart's going to be opening in October and only a few people are allowed in. But um, here's the thing that I've noticed, and I'd love to get your opinion on this, Nancy, about people who join programs and masterminds. There is a large, one of the biggest questions I think actually that we get is, will I see results? Because nobody wants to invest and then feel like they've wasted their money. Like you said, you've invested. I know that you've got your money back from almost every mastermind that you've invested in by implementing. So how do you know you're going to see results? What kind of person needs to be joining a mastermind to make sure that they're ready to get those results? I mean, I'd love to talk you through this because I've been inside dozens of programs myself, and I've helped out with dozens of other programs from top coaches in our industry. So there are people who just don't end up implementing, and they don't use the tools, and those who do. What do you think? Where do you think that comes from?
I had to use my banners. All right, good question. So I will tell you that I can guarantee, right, you are successful in your business if you actually implement and do the work. Okay. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. Business is not that hard. Okay. Every single business, whether it be a super big, large business, right, that's bringing in millions and millions of dollars, or a very small baby business, businesses are relatively the same. Okay. It's a simple framework. In fact, when it comes to processes, we've got operations, we got sales and marketing, we got financials, right? That's about it. So we don't have to overcomplicate this whole thing. In order for you to be successful, you need to, right, like actually have a plan of action, which we help you do, and you have to do the do. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So just to give you an example, and I'm going to use the quote, right, from one of our members who is just crushing it. And they said, do what Nancy and Scott tell you to do. It works. And I don't mean to like toot my own horn or whatever, but like Scott and I literally on a day-to-day basis go, if people only knew what we teach and, literally like knew all the amazing things, that they can do if they just applied themselves, so I can, and I always tell, in fact, one thing that we implemented this year, after obviously having this mastermind for several years, we created a commitment contract. So when people sign up, okay, it actually says, and you have to initial, I'm going to be present, during the weekly calls. I am going to show up. I'm going to complete my goals. During my strategy session, I am going to be intentional and prepared for these calls. I am going to work on my business and I'm going to keep it a priority. So we actually go through and we remind people like, look, this is not something we're going to take lightly. We want you to be successful, but we can't want it more than you. Right? Scott always says it's the 49, 51. You've got to want it 51 and we got to want it 49, right? I get very excited sometimes. And in fact, I get giddy because I can see the potential in so many people. In fact, we even had a client today, right? Where, well, it's not even a client. It's a person who I know. She's sitting on an amazing business, sitting on a market that is so in need of what it is that she does. But I know for a fact that until she actually creates that plan and she actually puts the steps in place to implement, she's not going to get anywhere. She's not going to be any further this year than she is next year. And so that's actually something I'm very passionate. Like, guys, we can't do it all ourselves sometimes. And sometimes we need that accountability. We need kind of a boss. In fact, I tell people in our mastermind, what kind of coach or consultant do you want me to be for you? And I've had people, in fact, one of our clients who's also doing really amazing things, he's an attorney, just actually created his own coaching practice. In fact, one little win that I want to share, he had over 500 people sign up for his last workshop.
Wow.
Kind of like went a little viral on LinkedIn, and he had tons of attorneys on his last workshop, and he's coaching people now. He's got his own whole separate business from what it is that he was doing, and he's writing his book. But one of the things that makes him so successful is he told me right out of the gate, he said, Nancy, I need you to tell me what to do. I need you to tell me what to do. And I need to give you, I need you to give me homework and I'll do it. And so that has made him so successful because he literally goes out and does the do. We say, hey, I want you to go, set up a workshop. Let's talk through what it could be about. What do your peeps really need? What are some big pain points? He is so coachable. So again, if you are coachable, if you're willing to put in the work, if you are willing, right, to actually go head first and really work towards, the vision that you set out for yourself, and you want to prioritize your business and get this done, I can guarantee you will be successful, right? Is it going to happen overnight? No, right? I do believe that it takes time to build a business, but to build a business, and I'm just going to, again, I'm getting like all fired up, but every single morning in the kitchen, I literally just say, oh my God, I am so freaking grateful that I get to do what I do, that I get to work 3 days a week, that we make the money that we do, that we have the freedom to do whatever the hell we want. And I am not waking up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., getting ready for a job I stinking hate, living a life that makes me sick, feeling burnout, exhausted, disgusted, that I'm just literally not living in my purpose. And that's what I want for other people. I want you to feel this gratitude. I want you to build the business out of your dreams. Another example, another one of our clients, in fact, she actually just did a testimonial video for us. She has an amazing business and she joined our program. She already had, right, the foundations. She had her business that she had established, but she really didn't know what the next steps were to really, really launch it out into the world and really, I guess, pour the gasoline on it, right, to really get it going. She reached out to us and she said, Nancy and Scott, I am like literally in disbelief. I made more last month than I did the entire last year. And it's just by doing what you told me to do. And I can't, guys, I cannot make this up. In fact, again, this is the stuff that gives me the warm and fuzzies. And this is the stuff where literally, like when we started the program, we're like, look, we know if people just do the do, right? They stay consistent. They take the time to prioritize their business. They set up routines and systems. And it's not complicated. I promise you. It's just, you got to stay focused and you got to stay on track. It's so possible for all of us.
I love that. I think that people sometimes see it as like they're a tightrope walker and they're not sure that they even want to like stand on this and balance and try to get across. And you're on the other end saying you can do it. It's actually like a big, comfortable bridge that cars are driving across and lots of cars are driving. They're on the Brooklyn Bridge and they can actually walk across and take pictures along the way and have a good old time. But you guys are just literally saying, okay, just take one next step, you have laid out each and every step of this. And so if someone gets themselves to New York, gets themselves to the Brooklyn Bridge, they can just walk across because you can show them each step of the way. So that's what I'm hearing. And that's what I've seen happen with anyone who's ready to do this. The mastermind is the perfect place. Plus on top of it, there's all these bonuses. You meet people like you people start networking, meeting potential partners. Next thing you know, the business and your little pod starts to build itself. And I mean, it just takes off from there, kind of like an avalanche in a good way, like rolling, picking up speed. And at the bottom is a pile of money snow.
Totally. Yeah. Well, let me like throw this back at you as well. So ask Charlize, right? Yeah. So like the question that, I have for you is, you have been behind the scenes of, quite a few different, coaches, consultants, people like that. What do you see as, people who are successful in programs and with coaching as opposed to people who are not? What are the things that you see for people who are and who aren't?
I have seen people who, I don't want to get too negative, but maybe go through a program very excited, but they almost put the 51% on the coach, right? That 1%, 2% is missing from them because they actually don't really have the fire. They don't trust the coach. There's something there that, for lack of better words, is in their head. They're in their head, and they've already told themselves, no, I can't get past this first step. And so then the coach, how is the coach going to fly you to New York and put you in a wheelchair and wheel you across the bridge? Well, that's not going to get you successfully to the other place, because you won't be able to walk when you get there. Because even if they did do all that for you, at some point your coach is going to leave and you're going to now be in a wheelchair on the other end of, New York City in Brooklyn, and you're not going to know what to do. So I think that you have to want to take responsibility. You want to use the energy you have for this. And for some people, that means clearing energy blocks. And that might sound woo woo, but I mean it in like the most literal way. Like, is your family creating blocks? Can you clear that? Can you go through some kind of way to say, I'm not going to let these people take things out of my life that burn me out? Can you say to your job, your boss, either I quit or I need a break or take a vacation to get started? Anything that's blocking your like physical energy from being able to wake up every morning and say, today I'm going to take 2 more steps, 3 more steps, whatever I need to take to get that business growing, because the path has been made. So how all you have to do is take the steps. What is stopping you from taking the steps? And you know what I find is when people think they're going to get pushed across the bridge instead of walking across, they're the ones that end up complaining. They end up sending the email, this isn't working for me, it's costing so much money. All they can see is that, they're not getting what they want, but they didn't notice that they're still sitting, at home in front of the TV, and they haven't booked the plane ticket. They haven't done the thing. They just, paid someone and said, I'll meet you there. So anyway, in my opinion, it's always within yourself. It's rarely the coach, because like people like you and Scott have done this so many times, and I have worked with other coaches that are, talented as well in what they teach. And when the person takes the steps and does what's told, they always, every single time, get more than their money back and end up successful. But
Yep.
don't join anything if you think you will need that person to pick you up and carry you across the finish line, because you're at some point going to have to walk. That's just the bottom line. So, people like me, people like you, Nancy, like, I think sometimes we don't get it because we're like fired up. If you give me a task, I get it done. I'm working, I research it, I learn more about the task than anyone else has ever known about this task, and then I go and do it. Not everyone's like that, and that's okay. But every single person who has a dream can follow your steps and can have a successful business in whatever it is that they're an expert in.
Love it. So, so, so true. All right. Awesome. Do you have any more questions, or are we good for this episode?
This episode, I think you answered everything amazingly about masterminds. I think you guys are more prepared than ever to take this next pod into these amazing dream levels of their life. So thanks for answering the most asked questions about how are you going to become that true expert and make the money that you want. Great job.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your day. Hope you enjoyed. And if you want to learn more, right, about the Expert Authority Mastermind, yes, we have a mastermind. We've had it for years. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And we love it. We'd love, for you to be a part of it. And I promise you, it doesn't hurt just to book a call, right? If you're curious, if you're kind of circling the runway, whether you have been part of a mastermind or you haven't, and you really want to learn more about what it's all about, Scott and I are here. Right? Book a call. Let's chat. We can definitely jump on a call and share a little bit more about it with you.